Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there were 4 Khalifas. There is a narration where Hazrat Safina radiallahu anhu, one of the servants of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Khilafat in my ummah will be for 30 years. And then after that there will be monarchy. So Hazrat Safina, who he was telling this narration of the Prophet ﷺ to, he said, count the years that Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu ruled for. And Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was a Khalifa for 2 years. Then he said, count the Khilafat of Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu. And Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, he ruled for 10 years. So now altogether that is 12 years. Then he said, count the leadership or the duration of leadership of Hazrat Uthman radiallahu anhu, and that was 12 years. So 12, and we previously had 12, that is in total is 24 years. And the last Khalifa, Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, and he ruled for 5 years, and after this for a few months Hazrat Hassan radiallahu anhu, he was also included in this 30 years for a few months. Hazrat Hassan radiallahu anhu was also the Khalifa before he resigned. Okay, I've got a point to mention for this, I'll come back to this as well. But Hazrat Safina, he said count all this duration, and he got to 30 years. So he said this is the period of the Asl Khilafat, and this period is known as the Khilafat of the Khulafai Rashideen al-Mahdiyin, the rightly guided, pious Khulafas and successors of the Prophet ﷺ. So we said Hazrat Hassan was also included in this duration as well, and he resigned. Why he resigned, I don't want to get into this, that's a long story itself. But what I do want to mention is a very subtle reason. Something that we've mentioned before is that Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, he will be from whose family? Hazrat Hassan radiallahu anhu. Okay, he is from the children of Hazrat Hassan radiallahu anhu from his father's side. So the reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has appointed Imam Mahdi as Imam Mahdi, and why Imam Mahdi will be from Hazrat Hassan's progeny, is because Hazrat Hassan radiallahu anhu, he resigned from his leadership role for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because there was dispute amongst the Muslims. So Hazrat Hassan radiallahu anhu, for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to create unity amongst the Muslims, he said, you know what, I'll resign. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewarded Hazrat Hassan radiallahu anhu in such a manner that, okay, you didn't get the leadership, but I will place leadership back into your family. So this is a habit of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that when you leave something for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant you something better. He will reward you by granting you something better, and if not you, then He will grant someone in your family something better. So this is a subtle reason why Imam Mahdi is from the family of Hazrat Hassan radiallahu anhu. So